Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Welcome again, everyone. And relax once more. You already know. You're already flowing into it. Feeling yourself coming into that beautiful space of love, of peace, of benevolence, of the beauty of your soul, unifying yourself more into all that beautiful soul that you are, sitting there, ready for another day of information, of the DNA layers, and for today, the Lemurian group that also lives in your Akash, in your Lemurian Akash. Breathe and allow yourself to expand more into the consciousness or even consciousnesses of your many lifetimes, of your experiences. They're all in you, in this now moment, in this quantum reality that is your real reality, that you are learning more how to move into it, to live in it, to be it. Your multi-dimensionality that lives in no space and no time. Feel more of those energies, vibrations, resonances, and higher dimension. Breathe. Allowing for more understanding, allowing for more light, for balance, for coherence, and for healing, to come more into your multidimensional vision and understanding. Breathe. And expand into it, merge with it, meld into it even more, even more. In a space of no beginning and no end, that is always in a circle, always in a circle of love. And from there, expand once more your heart, your multidimensionality, your beingness, to hear and feel and receive the love, the energy, the light from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is what I will call the blessing channel, which means the first channel, of class number 3 regarding the 12 layers of DNA. It's a study that we gave you over a decade ago that first reveals the magnificence and the unknown potentials and energies of your own DNA, where we split apart into 4 groups that which are the 12 layers of DNA. 12 layers that we constructed and described for you, that would make it easier for you to understand, perhaps, what is in there that you didn't expect. This particular class, one of my favorites. And that is because it reveals something that at the time of the book was not fully understood. Today's class refers to the energy of 3 layers, which I called the Lemurian layers. I've said to those who are teaching that there's been so much more revealed about the idea, the perception, and the knowledge, and even perhaps evidence of the small continent of Lemuria. There has been so much given past that which was given originally over a decade ago that they should expand on that. I cannot emphasize, I cannot de-emphasize at all the importance of knowledge of how it began. Dear ones, if more of the planet cognized the idea of Lemuria being the starting point of civilization and the truth about it, it would change it all. Perceptions, where you're going, ideas, perhaps even doctrines. And the strangest thing that we see regarding that belief is this. We have told you that you've come from the stars. There's beginning to be evidence now that there could be a lot of life. Evidence that says that perhaps half of the stars like yours in the galaxy that you look out upon, half have planets. And of those, many are in that particular zone that they call the habitable zone, just like yours. It could have water, gravity like yours, atmosphere like yours. The chances are there are billions of Earths, even as you look out there. Those who deal with statistics say there must be life, just like there is here. More and more scientists looking at this. And we have told you, you've come from the stars. There were those who came here, fully invested in their divinity. And they didn't even need ships to come. And we've told you this, that consciousness becomes quantum, perhaps over tens of thousands, over hundreds of thousands of years. And that they came here to do one thing. And that is to change your DNA, to give you their DNA, which contained the seeds of the Creator. And if you tell that to someone on the street, they would say, "You're crazy. That's just the most ridiculous thing we ever heard." And then if you say, "Okay, we're sorry we offended you. What do you believe in?" They'll say, "Well, we believe in the Adam and Eve story and the talking snake." And that is the two options that most of you have. One which probably will see science behind it sooner than later, and the other one, almost a fairy tale. Dear ones, it's no fairy tale that the seeds of the stars are inside you. Let the class begin. And so it is.
And so I invite you to close your eyes, and you may even wish to place a hand on your heart as we say these affirmations to our DNA. Dear Layer 7, my Lemurian Layer 1, within my DNA resides divinity. I give permission for this divinity to be revealed. I allow the energy of home to be fully present in my daily life. Dear Layer 8, Lemurian Layer 2, my Master Akashic Record. Within my Akash is deep knowledge and spiritual wisdom. I pull upon my Akashic wisdom to give me health, peace, a long life, and beautiful, loving relationships with others. Dear Layer 9, my healing layer, the cells of my body carry an intelligence known as innate. I give instructions to innate to release the correct chemistry for me, creating peace, balance, health, and long life. I celebrate this cellular communication, and I am an active participant in my own healing. And in your own time, you may gently place your hand on your lap. And from this energetic posture, let us invite the beautiful, loving messages from Kryon.
And so it is.
So as we begin to bring the energy into a quieter place, a more receptive place, just let your body and your consciousness settle a little bit in this moment. And take a breath. And know that there is nothing for you to do, just to be right here with us, with the beautiful energy of love and family. And let yourself feel the blessings in the room that you create, that we create together. Feeling the energy of the cosmos coming in through the crown of your head and just settling for a moment in your heart, saying hello. And then moving through your body, down your legs, into your feet, connecting with our beautiful Mother Gaia, right here, right now in this room. And letting yourself just find the stillness of that connection between heaven and earth. And in that stillness is that beautiful heart of yours, that space where your breath lives, where your light lives, where the softness of divine love always lives for you. Even when we forget, it's still there waiting for you to take another breath and move through your body, your consciousness, into that place of receiving divine love.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Take a moment and honor that which is here. I would not tell you things that are not so. There is a maturity of awareness that is in the room, that lays upon you like a blanket of benevolence, as it honors the role of the old soul in the future. And what we are going to speak of in these short moments has been spoken of many times through the years. And we're going to give a summation of it today, pulling it all together. In this particular year, the year of 2, We call it year 2 because it is the second year of acceleration of the new energy. The first year being 2014, this being the second. Things are beginning to shift on the planet dramatically. Unexpected things to your psyche are before you. We have told you not to despair, do not worry, that it is part of a recalibration of everything. And we've asked you to see and feel the benevolence of God in all of it. And then there are the instructions for you. Old soul, you are beginning to recalibrate how you feel about God. What follows should have a title. And humans love titles, so we will call it Accelerated Awareness, the Rise of Spiritual Common Sense. It is time for you to finally understand and separate in a mature way the consciousness of the Creator versus the consciousness of a human. Many years ago, I told my partner to write a book called Don't Think Like a Human. To this day, the title is catchy, and many agree that this would be nice. Now, it's a prerequisite. And we're going to give you a number of attributes. I'll even call them items that are things to work on and understand and to realize that are involved in everyday life, and you will relate to these things because they are how humanity has worked with God in the past. We've given you channels through the years that told you not to take the consciousness of humans and place it upon God. And this is another one of them. Only this one is maybe perhaps a wrap-up in the reality of what follows in your lives for you to take this information seriously. Pass it around. Give others the information, perhaps by having them read or listen to these words as we discuss a beautiful, beautiful system. Dear ones, how do you perceive God? In an old energy, that is to say, the energy that humans have always been in up to this point, there has been perhaps a bias. And the bias is that you think of God as a parent figure. You even name some of your religious leaders Father. And the paradigm of parenting, therefore, is what you would then apply to the Creator of the universe. It's the best you had. It's honoring in your mind. But dear ones, in the parenting and humans to children, you have also applied all of the other human attributes that parents would have, that fathers would have. And they would be a list that is endless. And they would all be human emotion. Anger. Punishment, control, do as you're told, authority, on and on. You have the idea that God is the shepherd and you are the sheep, and this has been used over and over in a very benevolent way of how you should then see the Creator of the universe. The father syndrome. It's the first one we tell you to break. 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 There is no relationship like parenting when it comes to the Almighty. You are family, but we are not parents. We are the family with you. We are your best friend, your brother, and your sister. We are spiritual lovers of humanity. There is no anger. There is no punishment. There is no punishment. Dear ones, your life here is by your agreement with the Creator in order for a test of energy, and that is all it is. You're not in a scenario of good and bad punishment. All of the things that humans do with humans is not what God does. How can we then show you or tell you? Can you understand the statement, the Creator of the universe is not a human? Does not have human consciousness, does not have human nature, therefore does not have anger, does not have punishment, doesn't want to control, and you're not sheep. Could it be any clearer? The closer you get to the source which is inside you, which is God, the more you will feel this arrangement we have. One single hand reaches out to you that is the Creator and is all that is, asking you to take it, not so you will be controlled as sheep, but so you'll be included in the creative source. The closer you get through your higher self to that which is this creative source which you call God, the stronger influence of compassion you will have on this planet. Like the masters that came before you, who were not angry and who did not punish and did not want you to be sheep. That's number one. Could it be any clearer? To change the paradigm of the relationship to the part of you which is creation. We're looking at all of these things closely. And we have so many of them. There are those in this room who wanted to hear this, who've been climbing steps all their life in order to satisfy something they believe that Spirit wants, who have suffered enough. I want to just hear these few things that you should know. Dear ones, there is no hierarchy. Could it be that there is nobody in charge? It is a human attribute. Don't you understand this? In order for you to group together and accomplish anything, there's a structure. It's human. It's everywhere. There's always somebody in charge. Always. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, even the hermit in the field, somebody owns the field. Someone's in charge. Somebody has to be there. Even in the middle of the ocean, someone's in charge. You'll say, well, now it is Neptune. Now it is Mother Nature. There's always a force above you. And you apply that situation, a hierarchy, to God. You have created that which is hierarchical even in the angels. You have master angels. You have ones that are in charge of others. You've got books filled of who answers to whom. And they don't. And they don't. You see, the structure of spirit, of what you call God, is different than you imagine. There is one consciousness that is in charge. And one consciousness is also the family. It is hard to describe to you a multidimensional aspect that you do not have. Imagine for a moment there was a consciousness that everyone had, and you were all in charge. If you had that, then there would be no followers. There would be no less than. You'd all know what to do instantly and would do it in complementary fashion with the others because you were all in charge. You saw what had to be done. You would then have the solutions all together as one. That is the mind of God. The angelic beings are not in a hierarchy. You say there is Archangel Michael. Michael would be the first to tell you there isn't. But honors the fact that you would see there was in order to facilitate yourselves and be comfortable in 3D. Do you see? It is time to get out of the fallacies of an old energy where you apply all human nature to God. Number 3, you always have to pay something to get something. You have applied this to absolutely everything in your life. Even physics sees a certain way of the way things work in 3-dimensional. Where there's no such thing as free energy, it simply changes its form. You've got to pay the price. In order to move from A to B, there has to be a transition. Even in physics, energy must move this way in order for you to get this. There is a payment plan for everything. And you applied that to God. Oh, did you? So here comes the creating force of the universe. And the first thing you're going to ask is, what do I have to do? If you give up your energy, if you're going to count some beads, if you're going to do something, it's going to be to pay spirit so that you can exist as good in the eyes of God. Let me tell you something. You are born magnificent and perfect and always are. Always are. There is nothing you can do that will diminish you in the eyes of the Creator. Oh, you may disappoint yourself. You may disappoint society. You are here for a reason, and the test is here. You may make some funny decisions that other humans don't like, and God loves you the same. Did you hear that? And when you die and transfer energy for a moment to my side of the veil before you return, when you do, there is a party that celebrates that which you did, called living life on the planet and being part of the puzzle. Everyone, from the minister to the one in prison. Do you hear me? And this does not compute, does it? It doesn't work for you. Anyone listening to my voice, I'll tell you, you say, there has to be a punishment, a payment. You have to pay to get something. No, you don't. You arrived on this planet on purpose, and you didn't pay anybody to get here. And it wasn't a punishment. Why do you assign negative and positive energies to everything that happens? And you do. That is human nature. Every single organization that is spiritual, including this one, if you want to call it an organization, it's an organization of consciousness, has that in it. There's got to be something you must do to have the favor of God. And then you ask, am I doing it right? Oh, yes, you are. By being in the chair and loving God, you're doing it right. There are certain societies where human beings act like children who are spiritual and they don't know any better. And it still goes on. Charlatans who know far, far better will tell you that for a certain price they can forgive your sins or propel you in heaven or even affect your ancestors, and you hand over the money. This is still on today. Dear old soul, break this paradigm in any way you can. When anybody talks to you about reward and punishment and payment, when it comes to the Almighty, you tell them you're part of the family and you're all paid up, all right? There are those, so many, who besiege God right now, right this moment, in prayer, bending over and saying, how can we get clean in the eyes of God? And they don't know that they were never dirty. Who told them they were dirty? And why would they? Break the paradigm. Born magnificent, family and clean forever. Your timing, number 4, is not God's timing. And yet you make it that way. It's a habit that way. My partner even gave a full lecture series and recorded a video about it because it is so prevalent among you. Somebody has to hear this. You came today to hear this. When you get a strong intuition about something that may be in your future, you take it and you hold it to yourself and you thank God for finally giving you some instructions on what to do. You're going to go over here, you're going to start a school, you're going to write a book. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then you do it. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work spectacularly. It fails. Use the word. And then what do? You do the human thing. You say, what did I do wrong? How did I displease God? All of those things are simply running in circles of human nature and not having any idea about how the Creator works. If any of you at any time get a message about something that is coming or an inkling or a feeling, I want you to promise me you'll have common sense that is spiritual and see it for what it is. What it is a potential that may very well happen, and the synchronicity will be created when it's time and not on your clock. I want to show you why you do what you do, and we've discussed this before. All of human nature has the authority figure asking you to do something or telling you to do something, and you doing it immediately. When your father said, clean up your room, when were you supposed to do it? When your boss tells you they want something, when were you supposed to do it? And the answer is always now. So Spirit gives you intuition about something that's going to happen, something that's in the works, or for you, something you're supposed to do, and you instantly knee-jerk it into reality now. And it fails. Promise me that you will have the wherewithal and the maturity to say, thank you, God, for this information. It's beautiful. And I will wait patiently for the synchronicity that will begin to realize and fulfill this. For I am family and I understand the principles of synchronicity and the timing of Spirit. I want you to see it in the bigger picture. These things that you are working on are potentials. You may be shown something far before someone else who will be part of it is shown. You're going to have to wait for them. For things to come together in a synchronicity in a society of free choice, they also may change. They may morph into something else, and you will be given that. And yet there are humans that are angry at God because they didn't get number one, they got number two. And when you ask them, well, number two was better, and you say, yes, but number one is what he told me. What did I do wrong? Not understanding. God does not have a list for you. These are energies of potential and the timing of spirit, not on your clock. Promise me that you won't launch out just because you got the message or the inkling, but that you will wait in a mature fashion for the timing of spirit and know it when you see it and be comfortable with it. Old soul, mature common sense should prevail. Number 5, the last one. Purpose. How many sales meetings have you attended? And they all tell you the same thing. In order to have something happen, you have to have a goal. It would be helpful to paste things magnetically on the refrigerator to remind you. Maybe you should go to meetings where other people have the same goals and reiterate them. None of that is what God has. None of that. And we said it before. Your purpose on the planet has nothing to do with your works. Did you hear that? There are sayings that some of you have heard all your life. By your works will you be known. Let me tell you another saying. By your magnificence on the planet will you be known. Which is you in the chair listening today. How about that? By your magnificence of being a human and going through this will you be known. Not by what you do while you're here. The magnificence of the old soul will be increased even more through compassionate action, and we have said that. That's what you're here for. If you really want a goal, I will give it to you. Compassionate action. Live like a master. And you will say to me, it's hard. And I will say to you, that's why we call you light worker. It's hard. It is. You have the maturity and the life experience on this planet to achieve all that you set out to achieve. In this life and others that you will live, by your magnificence will you be known as those who will create peace on earth and take it into ascension eventually. That's how we know you, family. By your name in lights. Your name sung in the light form. That's how we know you. And that's real different from having a goal. All of the things that we have given you this day are things of human nature pasted upon the countenance of God. And it would include almost every single one of the structures of that which is spiritual in any organization on the planet. And we ask you to change it. And when you begin to do this, dear ones, you're going to find an increase in love, benevolence, understanding, and peace. You realize there's no more steps to climb to please God. All you have to do is open the door and take the hand of the family that you are. Could it be simpler? Dear ones, this is the message. Profound, complete. And so it is. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We continue. The messages from the other side of the veil, they don't change because the channelers change. The message is the message. You could have a number of channelers in the chair passing. Between them, message to message to message. And if they're really tuned in, it's the same message. One complements the other. And the message of the evening, right now, is a plea for self-awareness. It's a plea to drop that which is the human part of you just for a moment. Today you were taught about coherence. You got to see the example and hear the testimonies of those who discovered that if they can bring coherence to their life even for a moment or two, imagining compassion, imagining love, the chemistry of the body starts to cooperate with them to the degree that it continues to generate it. For hours and hours, it continues to generate it. We're going to talk about spiritual chemistry, and there is both esoteric consciousness and body involved in something that, yes, even the pineal gland is part of. It creates a comfort in you knowing absolutely that you're loved. And yet you so seldom get there. That so much information is always going on in your mind that the whole idea of creating coherence starts to become viable, necessary, needed, so that you can stop the tapes, as we say, and start creating not a void, not a vacuum, but a clearing where you can stop everything and feel that which is your essence. And the essence that you have, every single one of you listening, everyone in the room, the real essence that you have is what you came in with. Dear ones, your chemistry and all that is esoteric in your body, your consciousness, and all designed on the other side of the veil to feel the presence of love. To know that this is temporary, to remember at some level what home is, and to create this as much as you can for yourselves. And in doing so, it creates it for others. And in doing so, the others create it for others. This is the prime directive, if you want to use the word, to find God inside. But there are so many who will say, I feel disconnected no matter what. It's really tough to stop the tapes. It's tough to even stop. Some have decided, well, you're going to do this through meditation. All well, all good, all beautiful. But then the meditation stops. There comes a time that it stops. And then you think to yourself, well, all I have done was to create spaces where I can be in touch with who I am, the other side of the veil. And that's really not what I want. I can't be in meditation 24/7. What is it that's going to allow me to not only feel this touch of the face of God in my life, but what is it that I could do that I could feel it all the time, no matter what? I can feel it while I'm cooking, while I'm cleaning, while I'm driving, while I'm at work, at the computer perhaps. Is this viable? Is it possible? Or does it have to be segmented into times when I'm aware and times when I'm not? What does that say about me? And yet, so many of you old souls are starting to ask that question, because you're starting to understand and realize there's something there. For those of you in the meeting, in the room, there's something here. And it's not a man in the chair talking. There's an enormous energy, a coherence of God, if you wish, that presses upon you right now. Some of you can feel it. And in this, what is the prime directive from the other side of the veil? Why don't you get the prime directives together? I'll tell you what they are. Love, compassion, unconditional compassion. Have you ever thought there might be a time in a meeting like this where you could do something, create a space where whatever you did would last a lifetime? Create some kind of coherence that's so powerful that it sticks with you. It sticks with you so much, it's all you want, because it feels so good. And then you realize you can create it by yourself. And then you realize self-realization. I'm a factory for spirit. Well, if you've wondered that, is it possible? Why don't we try it? And in this, a group of old souls of like mind, singular purpose and design, who understand the principles, in this we can help one another. When I say we, I'm speaking for my partner, who is also one of you in the chair. Here's the idea. You're going to open yourself up so much that the veil for a moment or two would open to whatever degree is appropriate for you and your life, and you would feel, for the first time perhaps, unconditional centering, unconditional love, as though you were an infant, helpless, in a space you hadn't been before. Helpless in a way that was good, because there isn't anything you could do, no matter what flailing, that could change anything you were. And in that helplessness, you would feel the love of perhaps the greatest mother, father, the greatest parenting, the greatest compassion and love, all the relatives standing around looking at you saying, this is magnificent. This is the definition of compassion. And it would be all around you. This is not being self-centered. This is self-realization that you are known by God. And the metaphor of being known by God is so powerful. Not just known, cared about, loved. What gets in the way of you and this feeling is all of the training you've had that you can't go there. Or the training that you've had that says that God is real and loves you, but you can't go there. Not allowed. Or that perhaps you're not magnificent. Or perhaps you're one who is not worthy of the glory of the Creator. So why don't we just change that? For a moment, just for a moment. Are you able to drop the tapes, ignore the sounds around you, and create a timelessness for a moment that would let you feel everything that is yours from the other side of the veil? Stop the clock. Nothing is important. Just for a minute. Nothing is more important than the connection that you are built to have, that this shift is starting to move toward. Fast track this connection by this moment. We're going to turn it into a little meditation just right now, just for a moment. And if you're ready, let it begin right now. I would like to tell you something. You are known. Every hair on your head or anywhere. You have hair everywhere. You have hair. Known by God, counted by God. Every chemical, everything in your body, known by God. Shaking hands with that which is the Creator, whether you know it in your consciousness or not. That is how important you are. This creative source that you are looking at right now, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, is able to be with each one of you 24/7 in such a beautiful, personal, multidimensional way. There's no sharing where you have to have one human at a time. It's all together. All the hearts, all the compassion of the entire galaxy, the universe, right now, pouring through the veil to tell you one thing, that is, we know you. Your soul glows on this planet so much that we surround you with our love. You can never be alone. You have an entourage of your own that can take your hand at any moment, whether you know it or not, whether you let them or not. They're always ready, always ready, always ready. The compassion of the Creator is in your lap. Let it shine with you. Drop the pretenses, drop the blah blah, drop all the things that keep you from shaking this hand that has always been outstretched to you, because you are loved. You cannot conceive it. It is so beautiful, so precious, so bright, so pure, so pure. The consciousness of God is nothing like a human being. It is spectacular in its purity and its silence. This is who you are. Just for a moment. This is the real you. You're part of all of it. All of it. You're your own prophet. You're your own ancestor. So great is this. Come back slowly from this knowledge, this experience. And some of you will never be the same. Because it's a revelation. Nobody told you. It's a revelation that you can dig into the purity. And it becomes you. You've heard the expression, "Be still my heart," so many times. "Be still my soul," so many times. This is the expression that so many on this planet use. That would say, in the stillness of all things in your body, there is a revelation of God. Dear ones, you have the Creator inside you. It's built in. What we just did was not something that is unusual for you to get to a place where the Creator can touch you, because the Creator is inside you. What you've just done was to clear the fence so that you could touch each other. It's built in. You can do this as many times as you want to. It's an effort for some and easy for others, but it's a measure of the coherence you have with the creative source. The more you increase this coherence, the more this planet becomes lighter in so many ways. The end result, dear ones, is not peace on earth, because peace on earth will come with this light and coherence automatically. The goal for the planet is what you do after you have peace on earth. For that's when all of the inventions can be brought to you, when stillness is something that you could have simply by going there. When the buttons are gone that would be pressed in you, that would create fear and anger, distress and drama. This is not a fantasy. Some have felt the reality of this. There are still cultures on this planet who are embedded in this so grandly that they can control even their heart rate. They know who they are. Dear ones, I close with this. Known by God, not just 3 words. This is actionable. That is a word that means it's real. You can act on it. It is something that exists. It's not that which is so esoteric, it's only in this room. It is something you carry from this place, and you live it. You live it. And in that, you can raise your hand to the sky if you wish and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, that I just had the greatest revelation of who I am. For I, you might say, am a part of the creative source of all things. And you be right. You be right. That is the beauty of the soul that all of you have, that is forever, that always exists, even after the body quits. You are you, part of that which is everything. That is the beauty of the message that we bring and will continue to bring. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
So let us ask for support and help now in a meditation that we prepare to receive the channels from Kryon. Dear Spirit, come closer. Dear Star Mothers, come closer. Dear angels and guides, come closer. Dear elementals of Gaia, come closer. Let us feel your love and support. I give permission for all in the spiritual realm, angelic realm, the earth kingdoms, all of the support systems that exist for me. I give permission for my hand to be held and to support me as I face some difficult personal challenges. Whatever it is, even the ones I don't know about, I give permission for your support, help, love, and guidance. I allow myself to accept and receive the perfect love that is always surrounding me. And thank you, Kryon, for being here. And thank you, Kryon, for loving us. And thank you, Kryon, for sharing your beautiful teachings and messages with us now.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Again, I will say to all of you, the family that is here, what my partner just told you in the question and answer series, he got that from me. That's when he started to realize that there was a family beyond that which he considered reality. That's when he started to assemble people he had never known before who were of like mind. And he realized they were studiers of compassion. That's when he saw them, even the human beings that were troubled or with their own problems, but they had the compassion and the understanding and the desire to know more about their soul. And slowly over time, that became his family. He's had this experience, and this is the experience that has changed his life. It's the experience that we offer to you to find out who family truly is, the ones who indeed love you unconditionally. For years we've said, often that is not your biological family. Some have asked, why would that be? What kind of a plan do you have when you come into this earth? You don't have a chance if you have a family who's dysfunctional and beats you up and tells you the wrong things, and you have to undo it all through training later, therapy. What kind of a plan is that? And I'll tell you this, dear ones, if you haven't found out already, and I've said it again, that's a magnificent plan for old souls, because iron sharpens iron. And the old soul that you are goes through these things so that you will be able to understand them, to tell others what to do about them, to handle it yourself, to get through it, to be compassionate, to find understanding and forgiveness. Those are all the attributes of a master. Are you understanding it more? Do you get it? And some of you are saying, well, I certainly don't like that plan. You'd be right, because these things are difficult. But many of you watching right now have gone beyond it. And what I mean by that is the things that used to consume you, that made you angry and worried, fearful, are now behind you. And perhaps the instigators of all of those things are still with you and still alive. Perhaps you see them every holiday while they ridicule you or worse. But that is the plan, because you've got to a place, so many of you got to that place, where there's total forgiveness, and you go just to watch the circus at Christmas. And you know what I'm talking about. But you come away peaceful. This is the reason for these things. It's called work. If you're a light worker, you go through training. And quite often the training is called life. So many of you have had aha experiences that bring you right now to listen to this channel. We have said before there are so many more listening to the channels than just those who are members of this particular broadcast. So this is for all of you. This is the fourth in a series of messages about the catalysts for healing. And we've said before, a catalyst for us is something you experienced which clears the way for something else. So when you have an experience that then leads you to another action, or may even force you to another action, it becomes a catalyst. And we've given you 3 catalysts so far. This is the fourth that clears the way for healing. Review. The first one was to understand the chemistry of your body reacts to consciousness. And that as you speak then to yourselves, an alliance is set up that allows for healing that may not have ever been there before. In other words, you establish communication. We also told you on that first channel that quite often humanity doesn't understand that, and they simply live in their head, and they look down at their bodies and they say, well, I hope it works. And it's left to be on its own and to steer without any kind of actions to tell it to go north or south, and it just goes in circles or catches diseases or whatever. It does seemingly randomly by default. And we've told you so many times that you are in charge. And we've given you parable after parable, and we've given you many different, I would say, modalities and methods and suggestions on how you get contact with your innate and talk to yourselves, and that's simply part of what we've been doing. But that was number one, establish communication. That's a catalyst. Because then, and that is really sometimes only then, can you truly start to chase away that which is slowing down your life, maybe even slowing your lifespan and making it shorter. Fear, anxiety, disease, all those things. That was number one. We've given you some others, and you know what they are. And you can review them, but all of them have to do with changing something about you that would then make you, I would say, on a path where healing is far, far easier. We talked about the inner child. We talked about going to a place you remember where there are no worries and capturing it and bringing it forward to you. We talked about laughter in general. And we gave you example after example. Psychologists know it, science knows it, and even some who make commercial products know it, that if you're in laughter, all the fear goes away, and all the anxiety goes away, and you're in a place that's so different. That's a catalyst for healing. This last one may seem like the simplest, and yet it isn't. This last one word that you've heard all your life, and I'll give it to you in a moment, is not all that simple. In fact, it may be the hardest to achieve. I want you to just go with me for a moment, all of you, to a place that you might paint on your own, a picture of your favorite master on this planet, whoever it might be, a historical figure who you believe is a spiritual giant, one who you'd spend time with if you could. And if you paint that picture in your mind, and if you will, and you could be with that master, what is the result? If you would sit at the feet of this master, and that master would then either begin to speak or not, or simply sit with you for a while, what would be the result? How would you feel? What would be the one word that would describe, as you sat there, what would happen? What if you truly were in the thickness of a consciousness of a master on this planet who you might have read about or perhaps met in some way, in some vision? What is that they bring you first and foremost that is the most helpful thing? And the answer? Peace. Peace. Can you be in the middle of turmoil with everything falling around you and still have peace? The answer has been yes from every master who's ever walked this planet. And they may even tell you that's why they came. So that you could be peaceful knowing that there is a grander plan, that the things that you worry about are transitional. They truly are, even if you have a terminal disease. It isn't to say that it won't take your life. It's just to say, perhaps, it's not all there is. Dear ones, you have to think out of the box, and you have to think about the magnificence which is your soul, and you have to sit and be peaceful. We told you one of the attributes of a pilot, and the reason they want to keep flying no matter what, is that when they get above the clouds, it's very peaceful. And they say it's always a nice day above the clouds, and it is. That is a metaphor, but ask any pilot, because that's where they want to be. Because down below the clouds and down on the planet is all the things they leave behind, all the worries, the troubles, even a disease they might have in their body. It all seems to be muted, almost in the background when they get above the clouds. We've said before that this is the most catalytic energy for healing. Healing becomes a byproduct of peace. When you can have the things that we have listed, when you understand that you're in communication with your body, when you understand you can contact that inner child of innocence, when you understand what laughter is all about, and then you can find that peace that passes understanding. In other words, there's no reason people would say, why are you so peaceful when all around you things are tumbling? And you can just smile. You could say, because that's who I am. And I happen to know, you could say, that my attitude of being peaceful will bring me answers and healing. It's so interesting. I said they're a byproduct. They're almost automatic. Did you know that? It doesn't then give you the possibility to read a book or to watch a video. It starts to happen because you're peaceful. Are you getting this? More than just a catalyst, these 4 items pave a smooth road where it was rocky before. But more than that, the things that eluded you start to come in automatically, including profound healing, including things like spontaneous remission, feeling better about yourself and feeling peaceful in all that you do. Just brings it on, brings peace. It brings healing, lack of fear. You raise your hand. Thank you, Spirit, that I understand now that I am part of a very, very large picture, and the masters are all around me. And now I am peaceful with all things. This is the reason I'm here. This is the teachings of Kryon. All that has occurred in 31 years comes to this day, in this hour, when we say again, we are in love with humanity for what you've done, what you're going to do, and the ascension of light that is occurring for all who wish to look right now. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We pause for a moment. My partner steps aside, but he is still here. And this is a very difficult concept for anyone. When he speaks of it, it's difficult. Channeling creates an interesting energy. It often affects things around you. He has a hard time explaining that. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about linear things. I want to talk about, again, assumptions. And it's all about you. Now, this is the end of a workshop, and I know that. I know who is in here, in the building. I know the energies that we are creating together right now. Some of them are strong enough to make batteries fail and alarms to go off. This is what happens with multidimensional things that are outside of linearity. There are energies that you develop that are unexplainable. Now, this goes two ways. It really does. And I really want to speak to you clearly about some things that are assumed to be linear and they're not. There is teaching that has been given this weekend about so many pieces and parts of the new energy, both of the physical body, of the mind, the consciousness, the planet. And it can be overwhelming, especially for the light worker who is trying to linearize it all. One of the most difficult things for you to conceive of is that relationship that has been talked about all weekend. You have so many names for it. There's the higher self, there's the pineal, there's the innate, there's high consciousness, there's love. And the overwhelming thing about all of these is, as you listen to them, as you have teaching about them, you start to put them in boxes. Let me give you an example. Innate, the smart body for you, is connected to the pineal, and the pineal is connected to the higher self. It involves your intuition, and we have said through affirmations in this new energy are probably one of the strongest things that you can use for self-healing. For situational things, all manner of things, but then you've confused it with God. I want you to get out of the boxes for a moment and listen. Your cellular structure is not working efficiently and it needs help. Your cellular structure is not God. Now, God is inside you, but the cellular structure is something that is now increasing in efficiency, in communication. Your innate is starting to marry more with your consciousness. I want you to put that aside for a moment. That is one issue. But the love of God, your purpose, your consciousness, your relationship with Spirit, that's a whole nother issue. Don't put them together. There are so many things that you want to put in a little box and then combine it with another little box in order to put another box on top of that box and say what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. If you do this, what happens over here? And that leads to something. It leads to a life where you are constantly asking the question, am I doing it right? Is it in the right order? Why isn't this happening now? I've done this, but this happened. Those are great questions for a linear creature, but not one who is an old soul on the planet, who is part of everything. Yes, dear ones, there are processes and procedures that you are learning to work with your innate. And that's what this was about today. You've taken pictures of them, you've written them down, and you walk out with some information that is so valuable about you and your cellular structure and your biology at this time in humanity. But dear ones, don't confuse it with the love of God. Listen to me. There are many here right now asking the question about what's next, why is this happening? And you're looking to the innate for the answer. Innate talks to your cellular structure. If you've got a health problem, you'll be talking to innate. But you're also going to talk to the consciousness that's connected to Spirit. Between the two of you, the innate, the consciousness, and that part of you which is the love of God, All of you together are going to create solutions. Not just one. But there's one big one, an assumption I want to talk about right now. It's difficult to even describe where I'm going with this. So many in the room, so many listening, are trying to find out how to get past something. How to get over the wall, perhaps, of fear. Or how to broach something that hasn't happened and you know it's there, you can feel it's there. And you know how to do it. You come to a place like this, you learn about innate, you learn about the balanced breathing, you learn about all the things that a light worker in this energy is starting to realize that it's a whole body experience. But don't confuse that with the love of God. There are certain hurdles that you're trying to get through. And dear ones, innate cannot help you with that. Innate wants to heal your body. Innate wants to pull on Akashic things to heal your body. Innate wants to work with that which has happened before, even in this lifetime, in order to change cellular structure. You need it. You need to live longer. But don't confuse that with the hurdle of fear. Especially the hurdle of enlightenment. I have got some information for you that is so difficult to communicate. So I want you to feel it. It's one of the only times that I have been in front of those sitting in the chairs where I've said, your language is not sufficient. I want to communicate something to you, a way to get through the hurdle. A way to walk through this, to get to that place that is next. So many of you are frustrated. I can see it in you, in the Merkaba. There is a frustration. You're just not quite sure of what it is. It goes beyond language. And so I'm going to give it to you, both with language and with what I will call the third language. Now, the third language is not a language at all. It's a catalytic energy of communication that Spirit uses with you that goes into the very consciousness of those who are ready to receive it. It's the big aha. A scientist sits with a puzzle. He knows that it's doable. He's got something to figure out. He's looking for something that's impossible. He's looking for a discovery. He knows it's coming. And he looks at it and he works the puzzle. He tries this and that and this and that. He calls in his colleagues. They work on it together. This and that and this and that. Nowhere is there a solution. Every single time he tries something, it fails. It's interesting, and if you talk to scientists, they will tell you that this is the way of it. They can feel it, that a solution in physics or science or biology is right there in front of them, and no matter what they do, it doesn't show itself. And they look at the logic of it, and they build the little boxes, and they work all of the puzzles. They do the computations. They work the puzzle. Nothing. Nothing. And they retire for the night. The scientist he's tired of computing, turns on the television and watches a movie. Disengages his mind completely with the puzzle, ready to attack it tomorrow. Watching a movie about nothing when suddenly the solution comes. Something is so obvious, of course. Slaps his head, gets out of bed, goes to write it down, does the computations, voila! the solution. What just happened? What happened was the scientist disengaged logic and accidentally, without even thinking about it, suspended every part of the problem that was in his psyche, dropped all of the barriers because it was no longer time to do the work. And so the barriers are gone. The disengagement of science was complete. The movie was being watched, and in comes the solution that was always there, waiting for the barrier to come down of logic. You don't know what you don't know. How can you possibly work this puzzle with things that you don't know about? Dear ones, you are overworking the puzzle. I want you to just suspend your logic for a moment and follow me. The solution to what many of you are asking for lays there right now with your name on it, waiting for you to stop thinking about it. I want you to erase the whole idea of how do I? Because the very English synapse is wrong. How do I is not going to work with a multidimensional human being who is an old soul who is learning things they don't know yet. You're learning things you don't know yet. So how can you possibly apply your three-dimensional logic to a puzzle that is beyond the logic? It's only when you suspend it and you give up and you say to Spirit, and Nate is over here, I'm working the puzzle, but what about the really big one? What about the fear of moving forward, of going to the next place, of overcoming this or this or this or this? And there's many thises as there are people. It's the spiritual that we're talking about now. It's the relationship and the communication we're talking about to God right now. It's about your life and your lessons and what you're here for. Don't talk to Nate right now. I want you to think about this, but not too hard. I want you to imagine just for a moment that the barrier that you know is there, keeping you from things, is slowly dissolving through no effort of yours at all, other than the intent to go beyond it. That there is some kind of a mechanism that you don't understand, that you don't know about, that is so powerful, that remembers and recognizes when you suspend belief, drop your logic, and simply allow it to happen. Like the scientist who had it figured out. There was a solution, but no amount of working the puzzle worked. I want you to combine this intent you have with the idea and the belief that there is a greater power of creation who knows your name, knows who you are, and is ready to help you right now. That greater power, and that is the creative source, has been with you all along. But the barrier that has kept you disconnected from it is the very thing you thought would solve it. Your logic, your survival, your smarts as a human being. Can you let it go? Can you just let it go? If you can see that barrier dissolving just for a moment, for no other reason than the fact that you're sitting here and allowing it, I want you to also vision the second thing. And that is the connection of your hand to Spirit coming out of that dissolving barrier and taking the hand of God. And you don't know why, and you can't figure it out. You don't know what's happened, and no idea. But suddenly, it's okay. Fear is a product of intellectualism. Did you hear that? It comes from the brain. The computer that says, don't touch the stove because you get burned. That's where it comes from. It doesn't come from God. It doesn't come from that which is your intuition. Right out of your brain. And it requires that the human being be able to disengage the very thing that has been their survival forever. You don't have to disengage and walk around without it just for the moment. You got to learn to balance the survival instrument with the heart, with the pineal, letting the trilogy work within you. There are people in this room who have been waiting to hear this who will heal because of it. Did you hear me? Aren't you tired of trying? Could it be this simple? And the answer is it's not simple to drop survival. But it's an elegant solution. When you figure it out and you slap your head and go, wow, all I had to do was let go. I'm talking to those right now who are here sitting in the seats, and there's thousands more who are listening and will listen to the message of who's sitting in the seats. This isn't for the masses. This is for you. I know who you are. Spirit knows who you are. There's a celebration, the fact that you came here to listen to this message, and some will get it and some won't. What you came for today can happen right now if you let go. Some of you will walk out of here saying, well, that was a nice message, but I'm not sure I can let go, and not aware that you did. Because it starts to change right away. And you'll feel it tonight before you go to sleep. I dare you. Put your hand on your heart tonight before you go to sleep and say, thank you, Spirit. I got what I came for. And if somebody overhears that and say, well, how did that work? You can say, I have no idea. But it works. Don't try to figure out how things happen, or they won't happen. Not in this energy. Not where this is going. You're going to have to cross that missing bridge, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was a channel given in 1994, 95, again in 96. Some of the first things I told you was to trust the unknown and know that you're in the hands of God. And now it comes full circle. That's the message. There's so many of you needed to hear that right now, tonight. You don't have to be stuck where you think you're stuck. Not when you let it dissolve like this. Not when you trust the unseen and never ask, how do I do this? You can raise your hand and say, thank you, Spirit, for doing what I need in my life now. I don't know why I ever doubted it. And you walk away, and some of you will say, it's an incompleteness if I don't know how it was accomplished. The more you do this, the less incomplete you will feel. And there'll come a time when you will count on the unseen that makes no sense at all. where you'll be able to drop your survival instrument and ignore your brain, who tells you that this is foolishness, and realize that the brain is in 3D, but you are not. A new integration is upon you. The unseen things come into your life and begin working. And you haven't got a clue why, except that you know you're connected. That's all you have to know. And somebody asks, how did you do this? And you can say, I'm connected. That's how I did it. And you know what the others will say? They won't say, well, I'm not going to do it because I don't understand it. They're going to look at you and say, you did it. And they're going to say, show me how to get connected. And that's what the old soul is here to do. It's a cryptic message, isn't it? And some of you got it through the third language and feel it and know it and are accepting it and are having a change right now. And some of you are going to get it later. I guarantee it. Because we got some stubborn ones here. Not for long. You may have to listen again. And the same language of the three will be available for you then. This is the beauty of working with those who are old souls. There is an accumulation of wisdom, stubborn as it may be, that starts to then make sense with time. I am Kryon giving you the truth this day about an evolving human spirit who is starting to become more multidimensional than ever. It is the beginning. Color is coming to this planet, and the old souls have the crayons. That's no relation to Kryon. But it sounds a lot like it, doesn't it? And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
With that, let's move into a meditation and a message from Kryon. Take a moment to relax into the space in which you exist. Feel the energy of the earth below you. Let's give gratitude and thanks to this wonderful divine energy of Mother Earth that loves us, supports us. We exist because of the beautiful partnership we have with the planet. And take a moment to reflect on who you are and why are you here. The who you are is a divine, magnificent human. The why you are here is the reason of the shift in consciousness for collectively, as we raise our consciousness, the entire vibration of the planet changes. And as we change ourselves, we pave a way for others to follow. You may place your hands on your heart and feel into the magnificence of that statement. As we change ourselves, we pave a path for others to follow. We now give gratitude and thanks for the message from Kryon that is changing our path.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Dear ones, this month we have been giving you 4 parts to a subject that I will describe yet again. This is part 2. And the subject is this: spectacular truths that make people question that which is true or not. Controversial they are. Spectacular, then, controversial truths is the subject. And we have chosen 4 things that we have discussed before many times, but we are putting them together in this entire month for a reason. We're grouping them for a reason, so that you will hear them as a group and realize perhaps what we have said so many times: things are not always as they seem. I hesitated a little bit when I wanted to say that word, controversial. And here's why. The audience I speak to right now, the membership that I speak to right now, is what they would call on board with this particular controversial truth. And yet this particular channeling will be heard by thousands who are not in that membership. And they need to hear me say something yet again. More controversial this will be to those on the street rather than those, perhaps, who are light workers or old souls. And here it is. Dear ones, this galaxy of yours is teeming with life like yours. Did you hear that? I'm not talking about microbes that you may find on the moons of the planets in your solar system. I am talking about those who may even look like you. A while back, we gave a full channeling about this. We told you the truths of science about this, that science and astronomy in general, those astronomers are looking for life because they now realize that the elements that created life on this planet in the form that they did and the reasons they did exists everywhere. So for you to think that you are alone completely in this galaxy and that there is no other life is really very comical. Like a man who perhaps grew up on a desert island because they were marooned perhaps with their family and they'd never been anywhere else and they've never had contact with anyone else, looks around on that island and sees the beach and says, I wonder if there are other beaches on this planet. Because they haven't seen any. And they haven't thought about the fact that what created that beach creates hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of beaches just like that one, everywhere. This is your planet. What makes this startling, controversial, is that they have not presented themselves to you as a society, as anything, and said hello. Now, there are those who would say, well, yes, we know that they have come and they've gone and whatever. I'm not talking about that. Dear ones, there are many things that you should understand and realize about this particular subject. So let us start at the beginning, but we condense it because we have given this before. The galaxy, all of it, is approximately the same age because it was created as one thing. Within the universe and the age of the universe, this galaxy is similar to other galaxies. But within this galaxy, the age of it is similar all over. The trillions of suns are the same stuff that made your sun. And the time that they've been there is approximately the same for so many of them. Science has discovered, and it hasn't been that long ago, that there are planets that are Earth-size in a habitable zone, that is, right where you are, the distance from the sun you are, all of the things, the orbit that you have, that there are planets just like yours in the habitable zone around stars in this galaxy. And they have given you numbers. In the billions they exist. Billions. Not just a few. And if you look at that and you say, well, the elements are the same, the time is the same, what are the odds that life exists like yours in other places in your galaxy? And a statistician would have a lot of fun with this, because they would say it is a guarantee that they are there. And they are. But still, there are those who postulate they don't exist because you haven't heard from them. Now, let me tell you fact number 2. Your biologists and those who study the Earth will tell you that life on this planet started actually 2 or 3 times. And that it didn't get a start that lasted, and millions of years went by before suddenly it took, meaning that photosynthesis came along and life started and remained and has been there ever since. You had a late start, dear ones. Now this is something you can find in biology, in those who are the experts and talk about this planet, how long it's been there, how long life has been here. If you think about this, what are the potentials that the other Earth-sized planets in this galaxy, in that habitable zone like yours, did not have a several million year postponement of life in the development that you see now? The odds, once again, are in the favor that you are the new kids on the block. And you are. We've given you this information again and again, controversial, strange to so many. But then there's the scientist who is shaking their head going, makes sense. You haven't seen it. You haven't talked to them. But I'm here to tell you, as I have so many times, you have a galactic family that knows you're here. Why is this so spectacular? The reason is because of all of those Earth-sized planets that have life on them now, that may be way advanced than you are. The spectacular part is they know you. And the spectacular part is they know what's happening here, especially since 2012. There is a galactic family you will meet someday. And you will think it is so naive of you and humanity in general to have ever doubted they were there. Again, why aren't they here now? Why aren't they here talking to you now? Those same statisticians who would agree that life must be out there may then take a breath and say, well, the statistics aren't near as good because they haven't said hello. They haven't contacted. Maybe they're too far away. That is not the answer. Maybe they don't have a way to contact you because of the distance. That's not the answer. They're waiting for something, dear ones. I have said this before. I want you to follow along with the reality of a scenario I'm going to give you. Let's say tomorrow you will have some kind of spaceship come down and land on the White House lawn in preparation to say hello. What would happen to that craft? Do I have to tell you? It wouldn't make it to the lawn. It would be shot out of the sky before it ever had a chance. Now, what I'm going to tell you is from your galactic family, a message. This planet is still barbaric. This planet has not grown up yet. It's too dangerous for them to come. All of your science fiction movies regarding ETs, it's very interesting. It has them coming to you as a danger. They're going to steal your gold, take your oceans, and kill humanity. Some have even said they're coming to eat us and you. I'll tell you this again, if you haven't thought about it, dear ones, that is the consciousness that you have, not your galactic family, who is far more advanced in consciousness and even love. Not all of them, but the majority. You are the dangerous ones. And it's interesting that you put upon yourselves the very stories in your scientific movies and your science fiction reflects your own consciousness of what you expect from the outside. Conquering, harm. When they finally meet you as the galactic advanced family, you will see compassion, love, because they have gone through what you are learning to do right now. So many have gone through a turnaround. They have the same creative force. That creator which created you and your soul created them and their soul. Did you ever think of that? What if you soul share on a regular basis with those from other places in this galaxy? What if you did? And the answer is you do. Did you know that since a soul is absolutely eternal, there's no beginning and no end? Did you understand and realize? Have you ever thought about it? Maybe you've been on the other planets yourself. Maybe you have what we will call galactic past life experience. Wouldn't that be something? Well, it is true. Spectacular, controversial, hard to figure out. How does it work? All of these things, dear ones, will come about in a way that will explain themselves as you go. This galaxy is filled with family, benevolent family. There are some, dear ones, who would visit this place called Earth and come and go because they can't stay, because they're not the ones that are coming later. The ones that are coming later will look a lot like you, and they will tell you stories about what they went through, which is much like what you are going through. Maybe some of those will be 1,000,000 years older than you, perhaps even more. They will be the masters. You will hear from them. How soon, Kryon, will I hear from them? And the answer is, as soon as you make those changes on this planet that we have told you about over and over, that are now only beginning to start. This is a truth, dear ones, a major truth. Spectacular it is.